Today, I'm once again gonna try to speedrun Hollow Knight starting with every skill because last time I tried this challenge, you guys were not happy with my performance. Like, dang, uncomfortable? You guys make me sound like some sort of creep. Apart from the outrage I generated, some of you guys were nice enough to leave tips on ways I can improve this run, and best you believe, I read every single one of them. So once again, the rules are the same as last time. I'm not allowed to use stacks, stations, or dream gates. I'm using the debug mod to get all skills, so the uncut version will be in the description below, and I'll be racing against the world record real-time attack. Again, I'm using real-time attack instead of load time removed because during my run, I'm not pausing or going into menus. Except this time, I'll actually race against the second place holder who has the fastest real-time attack at 36 minutes and 9 seconds, almost 2 minutes faster than the world record's RTA, which will really challenge my skills. Spoiler warning, but last time I beat the challenge at 38 minutes and 19 seconds. So will your tips be enough to cut down my time below 36 minutes, or will the gap in skill prove to be too difficult for me to overcome? Once we unpause from the menu, the run starts. Alright, here we go again. We'll start this run the same as last time where we use all our abilities to make it into the Howling Cliffs. Already, my movements are much tighter than last time, and here's where the first tip comes in. After breaking this wall, we avoid bashing our head on the ceiling, cause what kind of idiot would do that anyways? Then, once we reach this ledge, we crystal dash away, which takes us to Dirtmouth. And since I have your attention, this video is sponsored by you guys, since this improved run wouldn't be possible without your comments in the last video. So thanks! But that also means if I fail this run, it's on you guys, so no pressure. Once we drop down the well, before we go any further, we'll actually do a couple wall jumps up to grab a hidden Hallow seal over here. For this run, we'll need 2 Hallownest seals and 1 Wanderer's Journal to be able to afford everything we need, so that's already one thing down. Then we'll grab enough soul for 1 spell before heading into the next room to use a Descending Dark, which gets us to the bottom real fast. Here, we simply fall down and take the right path towards our first arena. Just like last time, killing this first fly provides enough soul for a spell, and this time I actually get the timing down for the Howling Wraiths, killing the next 2 flies instantly. Okay, sorry. Abyss Shriek. Didn't know you guys were such sticklers for names. Anyways, we'll continue to C-dash across the next couple of rooms before heading up to make it towards the False Knight. And before you guys start throwing a fit, relax. For the 3rd time, I already read your comments, and by far the things you guys berated me for the most was using the city gate entrance. Don't worry, I won't make that mistake again, otherwise I genuinely believe you guys will blow up my channel. Now that we're in the fight room, we just climb up towards the arena, then C-dash across, stopping just shy of the opposite wall to grab some soul. For the False Knight, I have some improved strats. As you can see, instead of 2 Descending Darks, if we get close enough, just 1 Abyss Shriek will do exactly enough damage to stagger him. Then, once he pops out, we do exactly 6 hits to do a Descending Dark and another Abyss Shriek. We'll just repeat the process another 2 times. Actually, this dude pointed out that I stagger the False Knight 4 times instead of 3 in my last run, and looking back at the footage, they're right. This time I make sure to only stagger 3 times since any more is just a waste of time. With the 3rd stagger done, we just patiently wait for the False Knight to smash the ground, wait a moment, then Descending Dark to get an insta KO. Now the whole reason we even fight the False Knight is for one reason: money. By beating him, we gain access to a chest which awards us 200 geo. This is perfect since we'll use these funds to purchase the Shaman Stone like this comment suggests, which will drastically speed up bosses like the Watcher Knights and Umu. Then we C-dash away, ignoring the city crest entirely. Now to head to Blue Lake. On our way there, we'll hit this totem for soul, then C-dash across this entire room to the Gruz Mother, who we instantly vaporize. Once she explodes, we'll grab her money, then we jump up to this corner here and wall stall by spamming the crystal dash a bunch. At the perfect time, we can execute a Descending Dark, which takes out all the Gruz spawn at once. Very satisfying. And with that, we can now make it to Salubra's hut and purchase the Shaman Stone, making our spells deal way more damage. Before we equip it though, we'll make a slight detour to this hut here to wake Sly up, because we'll need to purchase the lantern from him later. Once he's up, we'll make it out, and I do try to C-dash from the sledge here, but after 2 tries and not getting it, I just run to the bench and equip the Shaman Stone. Now, while we make our way to the City of Tears, let's take a look at some comments left on the last run. Why does bro talk like Uncle Ruckus? I don't know what you mean, cause I sound nothing like him. No hate, but this guy has never watched an 80% run. Was this true? Maybe, but since then I've watched 2 runs, thank you very much. Good vid, but this is more of a sped runner than speed. You know, I hate this comment because it made me chuckle the first time I saw it, so you get a pass, but only this time though. And would you look at that, we're at the elevator elevator down into the City of Tears. Since these corridors are pretty narrow, I'll take this commenter's advice. Some enemies you decided to fight in Deep Nest for non-known reasons could have just been jumped over or shade dashed through. Well, it's not Deep Nest, but the general idea still stands. Avoid fights when necessary. But we'll still blast these guys with a Shade Soul in order to grab this Wanderer's Journal. Only one more Howlnest Seal needed. We continue by avoiding this sentry and blasting these guys to clear a path downwards. Now we head to the left by taking this path and then use this ledge to crystal dash all the way to this room, because here, once we clear these small fries, in the back lies the Golden Husk who we can kill for a massive 400 geo cash out, which will come in handy for some upcoming purchases. But for now, we'll continue going deeper into the city. Here we'll just bounce across these enemies and into this room where we'll hit this lever for later and grab just enough soul for 2 spells before leaving. Now we can head towards our first Dreamer and boss fight. All we have to do is double jump to this ledge and head up. Now we can do a cool skip pointed out by this comment where we can kill a big sentry through the ground by using 2 Abyss Shrieks. This causes the gate to open and allows us to hit this lever opening the door without having to go up and around fighting a bunch of enemies slowing us down. And just like that, we can continue our ascent. You know, things are going very well and hopefully I can keep up this momentum into the Watcher Knight's fight. Speaking of, after taking this elevator and entering this room, as always, break this ceiling, cut this chandelier to kill one of the knights, grab some soul, and start the fight. The plan of action is just to spam Descending Darks, really. For the first knight, it works wonders. 3 Descending Darks, and he goes down. But immediately after this, I take 2 unnecessary hits, leaving me at 1 HP. With another Descending Dark, we take another knight out and try to heal, but get denied twice. At this point, I just accept it's do or die, so we go on the offensive. Shaman Stone is working wonders as 3 well-timed Descending Darks and 5 nail hits are enough to kill each knight. There are a couple of close calls, but we manage to get a heal and a kill, leaving 1 last enemy remaining. And just 15 seconds later, he falls. All in all, with Shaman Stone's help, we complete the fight in just 1 minute and 20 seconds, 45 seconds faster than previously. With that, we can grab this last Howlnest Seal we need and this chest of money before heading to Lurien. But instead of taking the elevator, we wall jump up the entire shaft since apparently that's faster. And we reach Lurien at exactly the 10-minute mark. First of 3 seals broken. Once the cutscenes are over, we'll grab soul from this dude, then make sure to hit the lever and D-Dark to the side. Otherwise, the spikes on the elevator will send us back. Whose idea was it to put spikes on an elevator anyways? Seems like a safety hazard to me. Anyways, we have a few more things left to do in the city. The first of which, selling off our relics. To do that, we take this left exit here, dashing through this hallway and falling down to this room. Hit this lever and read the sign before we finally dash to the right to talk to Lem. We'll return to the now open shop and we sell everything, bringing our total up to 2,300 geo. Last thing we'll do is take a slight detour to the left to get a nail upgrade. To do this fast, we'll C-dash at this exact spot to avoid all enemies and floating platforms in our way before heading to the next room. And then we scale up to the top of this wall and C-dash to the left and into the nailsmith's hut. We talk to the guy, hand over 250 geo, then skip the cutscene to exit as fast as possible. Finally, time to exit the city. And thanks to the C-dash, this is a very quick affair. However, by the time we reach Blue Lake, we've already crossed the 15-minute mark. Nearly half of our allotted time already spent, and still we have 2 Dreamers remaining. Making it back to the crossroads, we absolutely do not sit on the bench outside of Salubra's hut. Why? This is why. I'll grab a heal here, cause why not? Let me off. Hello? Do you not? I'm spamming my. It's not letting me off the bench. Yeah, that was not a fun experience. I don't exactly know why it suddenly turns into a Deep Nest trap bench, but maybe we're just too fast or something. Anyways, just like last time, we're now heading to Dirtmouth to purchase the Lumafly Lantern from Sly in preparation for Deep Nest. Now, theoretically speaking, it's possible to memorize the Deep Nest route and not have to rely on the lantern to see, but you know, I have a life outside of video games that I'd like to live. Anyways, after getting past Fly 1, accidentally de-darking Fly 2, and blasting Fly 3, we head to the left through these 2 rooms and finally make it up into Dirtmouth. With the lantern purchased, we can now head to our second Dreamer, Monomon. To get her, we'll head to the left once more, and I actually forgot to get soul for a D-Dark here, but we're lucky enough to not get sniped by an infection blob on our way down. We continue to the left, making sure not to hit this rock worm before taking a swim in some acid to make it into the Fog Canyon, home to a bunch of floating jellyfish and electric flies, both of which are pretty simple to avoid. If we walk around these little guys, then C-dash, we make it into the Teacher's Archives, home to Monomon and our second boss fight. Umu, which we start just after the halfway mark. Last time I fought Umu, it took me 4 cycles to beat her, but that was without Shaman Stone, so let's see if we can work some magic here. As always, Umu does 3 attacks before Curl swoops in, and we blast 2 Abyss Shrieks. First cycle. During the second phase, we managed to get a Dream Nail in, dealing no damage but increasing our soul reserves, which allows us to get another Abyss Shriek and Shade Soul, killing Umu in just 2 cycles. Down in just over a minute. Pretty dang good. With that over, we head down, where Curl does some magic shenanigans, allowing us to Dream Nail Monomon from out here to break the second seal. When we finally awake, we have roughly 15 minutes to get into Deep Nest, break Hera's seal, travel all the way back on foot to the Black Egg Temple, and fight the Hollow Knight. We gotta get a move on if we're gonna make it. Also, an idea that was thrown out there by a few comments was to sit on the Dirtmouth bench, then after we get Hera, quit and rejoin, or just die to warp back to the bench in Dirtmouth. Unfortunately, that doesn't work, as after we break each seal, the game saves us at the Dreamer location, overriding the bench save. That, and I kept getting comments about using the Stag or Dream Gates, even though that's literally banned. Anywho, now that we're out of the archives, we're gonna make our way into Deep Nest. However, instead of taking the Fungal Waste entrance, we're gonna go through the Queen's Gardens. In a normal, non-cheating run, runners execute several pixel-perfect movements to be able to C-dash right above the acid and into the Queen's Garden. But since we have Isma's Tear, we can just cut through the room by swimming through the acid pool and under these thorns. Not as flashy, but infinitely less stressful. And now comes a portion of the run I'm least familiar with, the Queen's Gardens into Deep Nest route. During my other tries, I'd say about 75% of my runs ended in the Queen's Gardens, since I get all up in my head about how this is a really good run and I don't want to mess up. Essentially, I get nervous and die. But this time will be different. Well, since, you know, you're watching the video and all. Anyways, to get to Deep Nest, we fell down this entire room, then at the bottom, C-dash into the next room, which has a battle. This first dude will take out with an Abyss Shriek, and I almost fall but managed to save myself and blast the second dude. Then I'll continuously pogo this last dude, tanking a hit for the kill. Before we can exit this room entirely, we'll have to do some platforming since the gate is locked. So, just in case, we'll heal to full. If you're speedrunning on an older patch of the game, there's this skip you can perform to bypass all the platforming and warp to the lever. But I'm on the latest patch, so we have to go the long route. Not that it takes that long thanks to the double jump and shade dash. Although I do make a slight miscalculation here. Just pretend you didn't see that. Once the lever is hit, we just break this wall down and head out. Now in this room, we just need to fall down all the way to the bottom, but as we do so, I'll grab some soul in preparation for the next room. What we want to do here is just keep moving no matter what. And that's because of these flying mantises. Their projectiles have insane range, and if we stop for a moment, they will hit us. Like here, this mantis throws the boomerang from out of frame and still nearly hits us. Thankfully though, we make it out in one piece. Now we're almost in Deep Nest. All that's left is this room, which progressively gets darker the deeper we go, which leads to a near-death moment. Thankfully though, we have enough soul to heal and continue down. Not gonna lie, I was pretty slow here since that near-death had me psyched out, which also continued into the first Deep Nest room. This is my best run yet, and I really don't want to mess up. Eventually, after some stumbling around, I make it out and into more familiar territory. Not only are we fast approaching Hera, the last seal, but so is the timer. We have only 12 minutes left to go, and there's still the whole trek back up we have to get through. But we can only focus on the now. So we parkour through these winding tunnels, then C-dash to the distant village. Now is a good time to point out the second biggest thing you guys pointed out in the last video, and that's the Beast Den bench skip. You see, normally when you enter this room, you'd sit on this bench, which traps you and activates a cutscene, plopping you down deep within the Beast's Den. But if you climb up this wall, then C-dash here and double jump, we can access the secret tunnel, which takes us right to Hera. Apparently this is a common skip for true ending speedruns, which is why I had no idea it existed. Now on to Hera. We just have to use a well-timed shade dash to get through this big dude, then Dream Nail for the final seal. By the time we finish beating up Hera and watching the 2 cutscenes, we have less than 10 minutes remaining to end this run in time. If we're going to make it, we can't make any mistakes. So to exit the Beast Den, we fall down a couple corridors, allow this floor to break, then we simply C-dash out. Now for what it's worth, I found the trek back up into the crossroads way easier for some reason, which is amazing for us because after avoiding these spiders and heading up and into this room that I previously struggled in, it became a breeze. No hits and out in record time. 8.5 minutes left. To get out of the Queen's Gardens, we take the same room in, just backwards. We take a hit here by these dudes camping, but heal it once we get out, as we're again going to book it through this room. 8 minutes left. We climb up this room, C-dash through the once arena, continue up by platforming on these temporary platforms, and in the final room we run all the way to the right, taking a hit on the way to exit the Queen's Gardens. 7 minutes left. One swim later, and we're back in the Fog Canyon. The timer continues to tick down, and by the time we make it into the infected crossroads, we have 6 minutes left. Another 45 seconds passes as we enter the Black Egg Temple. By the time we enter the threshold, make it into the final arena, and break the chains, we have only 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. It's do or die, baby. Here we go. We start off the fight explosively with 2 slashes and a D-Dark, but the Hollow Knight counters with a dash and slash of his own. So we create space and grab a heal before baiting the Hollow Knight to attack. We punish the sloppy dash with 3 slashes, bringing him down to his knees. And we continue our momentum with another 3 slashes and 2 descending darks, causing the Hollow Knight to roar out, but we don't stop there. We land more and more slashes, each hit regenerating soul, which is used in the form of descending darks, to which the third one breaks him down to his second phase. Here his desperation manifests as he repeatedly stabs himself in the chest. You see, the Hollow Knight doesn't fight on its own accord. Rather, the Radiance, the god of light, is trapped within him, his body a prison to contain the god and all her crimes. But over time her influence spread and his will suppressed. It's now our job to take his place as prison guard. So we continue the fight. Descending dark after descending dark, hit after hit, slash after slash, we bring down the Hollow Knight down to his final phase in record time. The nail upgrade in Shaman Stone gotten all the way back in the beginning of the run working wonders. All that's left to do is continue attacking, and finally, with 2 descending darks and 2 nail slashes, the Hollow Knight keels over. This is it. The last thing to do is take in the infection and the run is over. In slow motion, we see a flash of the Radiance as she transfers cells and the screen shakes and eventually fades to black. We end at a time of, drumroll please, 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Not only did I beat the challenge with 2.5 minutes to spare, but because of your suggestions, I was able to shave off 4 minutes and 47 seconds from my original time. But if I had to crown the suggestion that had the biggest impact on the run, I'd say it would be grabbing Shaman Stone, because it saved 45 seconds off of the Watcher Knights, made Umu a trivial encounter, and the Hollow Knight fight went from taking 2 minutes and 40 seconds to only 2 minutes. Once again, thanks to everyone who commented. Plus, since you made it all the way to the end of the video, I'd appreciate a like and sub, because I am definitely hanging up my speedrun coat after this for a good while. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.